Ghana for your daddy, your brother, now. And that partisan politics. So, yeah, you're not going to come by your phone. She never be able to wire and then will be to me there.
You have endured the pain of living through the hardest of times in a country with no jobs and no hope for the future. But do not be dismayed. There's light at the end of the tunnel.
You might phone in a couple once again, Emra Jumadia Tracia. Yen Sama Ecoso, oh my Ganamu, a for now. After say a man Mabawa, a Tiomugu Monteso, I protest and demonstration, a tear bind on Indian say. Anyone koye ewo mayimu na fe galamsey won sensem esay ensase enonam so ema ye chem ranche ni bi ama nsem no akwakoye bebre alan kodwo chematin ade nsem bebre ena betudwa wa kyerensem kwekwan ye bewro baransa no yenko na this video nyumtini e friend Stonebwoy or tuja ede mane apan no ni nyina ne se oman ni ma din ye de taria na why ye ya emfa enti ama ebi nso aka anyumtufo nyina ama Stonebwoy sesia no na ni aprepa quick one yenko na yentemra na ye ba ensema commander de barabusua ano edi
yo ya dati wo Ghana for your daddy, your brother, now. And then come and send him 15,000. We say the school, we say the same. Now me there, and then go and me to and do that go and that partisan politics. The power. Honorable, the minister said when they buy her. Honorable, that is smart. You share with TV so. At the end of the day, I come to the big up on your TV. Yeah. I'm a lady now. I got to say, I'm in Kuruma boots and Kaya. Your tribunal, yes, I'll be Ben, 80, Shabia, Yana Pabu Kuruma Yako. She never be able to wire and then will be to me there. Hey, it's no my lady now. Young Kaiser, your papa is a Kwame Kuruma. The end of the Pakasian. I'm a Ghana, and I'm a Ghana. Nobody to be. Thank you, Honorable. Yamiso, Pastor, what the Baha. Yamiso, yo, it's not nothing I'm going about starting. I'm a banner.
Okay, Commander.
Yeah, the writer.
Answer, I can't win now.
Yeah, the writer drew baby from head to toe.
Oh, you know, not feel it, you know.
Of course.
But answer, Stonebwoy and Kwan and Yaku could draw. About Bontia Babekasa, the lives of Sako dear. Who's a former president, Mama Pence, was out your born, no metia, a pino.
Yeah,
for complaining at this time. All my Bontina also made the same thing.
Yeah,
because I are quite hypocrite.
Yeah, the writer Samekaya said, oh, you soon you'll be an inflation.
Oh, yeah.
It is a check this hard, you know. Now, share said another Akuffo.
Yeah,
inflation, a yama, inflation quadru around 50 something. Yes, I tell about 23 near the idea. But now you will expect to say,
yeah,
Obaba Bonten, Wabba Bowa, Afano Krebi,
yeah,
no what preaching or cray. But the writer truth be told,
yeah,
say you were my muna, you was Sebi. Artist Anastasia, a drew baby on bet my general money, so I cannot cry. Actually, say na Denisiko. Nemo na omo any hypocrite. Na anytime be no matter the person you work on. Yeah, but they will come out no matter no crana and come my neighbor ye.
Say on no freely hit, you know, because I ni padodo sorry or no modano.
Right, I ma because a name I want you event planner be him say so what of fanyum to ni. Because of economic issues, you know.
Yeah.
Onimna Kofanyum Tuni said, Yum Tuni Stonebwoy, and Asha told an Asa Codia.
Yeah.
May amount 2 billion. May find Tuni for Flacam, a cost in Abesi 5 billion. But to Bosho, your Boboka because I'm not to Ghana for ma.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, Minya Janini. Yeah. Say, be meantime 200 cities, and Conco ticket to say, May Quaco Hesa Code say, all pay for me. Wabra, dear Cham, me better come because I won't tell you too much.
And I say, we say, a brooch, or more brooch, and also feel hit in you.
Of course,
because one more fieno. And a Stonebwoy say, Nancy will two school fees now. We say, yeah, I brought you for no so simple. So me Baba Swan. Yeah, France a Ghana for more.
Right, I know the Ukrainian say, Sebi, we are Ghana near Wabruchi, and I see a crable when Sema. The right over that, so the not cost all phones in I want to the cost. Miss Rome, best school fees. Oh, me buy the hospital. Yeah, me get trash. Me yere so pesca ko the writer every single day microphone boom microphone
obo se bed na do so ma nipa no obebre wo wa obefra broche abagana no no de yade neba
na oni sika bia wona chi because
na osan de yade mpo na ese ba
o de yade baba because wo ye adwuma ho abre obeduru ye no hwensa na wachi and oba ye no sabi wo de yade ba fie sika be kwa na ade betwiti reta no kwan nyamyanim nie ahokyere na ye wo mo Ghana ha no reta aburo Ghanaians so but ye nim krofo mbeka no kra kire say ahokyere na bore so but say ye best tenase na yanka say yasese from ye chi say the na dollar rate esitie say the na inflation sitie the price of goods any niema ye to no say the na esitie any nne na better we will realize say the baby a ekọ no we say we ase ni nyina akọ nanim de but ye the rate at which ekọ no abro ye so the rate asem way the bia meka because Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and the kan in the to mitrim pa say say we ase nyina ho kire ba entimi mo aman bi ntra wa bra o man ne sha man bi ntem na abo ma tre na akwa kan de o sha mfimfi no and very fortunate but Ghana share in between Togo Burkina and Sebila Cote d'Ivoire inti Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia e kan this statement wa bra na former president man ne nkrofo so di tudwa so aho kire ba wi ase nyina emo chem say entimi skip those countries na fire but in this case inflation here saying and as I say other countries
and the hu tutu Togo she ye port ye no mo be ye pe
and brother say
ye niema en cost bia because Togo no uyi niema wo ho a en shera en cost bia and Togo ne ye hu tutu
and brother ho sem ne say bi ye de ho ba tutu o mo kire say inflation rate no some countries train na atwa ho ahye obi a was single digit ye yan kwai de no brother ye twam say bi double digit no kra anya 10 anya 11 anya 12 ye twam a chese ye ntimi nyina brother ebe be sin ne Ghana as a country say twa ho ahye nyina no ye say bi oman no enema ye okay ewiase nya ho traba but country say twa ho ahye nyina no even in football infrastructure omo obi de bobo Ghana ni bi up to ne ye ni stadium ba kompo a say because stadium we dey e standard
niema boy
na o check Japade na o check koma the right ye ho kire ye bobo sententem che omo nyina say bi en sentimi nya Japade ye wo no ye say ton the right nya Ghana nkwa ne to go so what check countries omo to go kese wa Africa ha right Burkina Faso nso ka ho adena say be voter river na free Burkina Faso ba Ghana no adena ni nyina say you ask yourself say voter river the river currently one of the most cleanest rivers in Ghana Ghana happens so muti say pa voter river ka ho na free Burkina neba Burkina Faso too good pa adena say be Burkina Faso no omuntimi say voter river no emma medru ha na enane say be brown to say there river plan nso na aka na ye no this has a situation sir e wo man ma ye complain ya say be pa man for mom di be ato to say ye ho kire ye wu
na ense ye wo mranche ne mabawa ne bi wo ho a obi adwuma etua ne ka be 1000 Ghana bo so me ne nso no na odi ni nyina atua lorry fare
enso no
odi ni nyina atua kasika wo
enso no right obetua kire say they say kasika no kula wo me say truck drivers no mo mate no ma fa a different strategy because fuel no director say bi on ba ya adwuma on be pon no omuti fuel etisels na sika no omunya omusika e wo so omu so omunya bi cover
wo ne boy tin
olodu a director ono anim se krowe no wokoso osimi nnuru ho nto afa akosi kwan ma waduru no asa kire omu so wo ba toa so dia ye toa so na wasa ju different fare because of how full no edu kosi a right obeboka nti baby e kwakodu no right me tuche de Stonebwoy say sebi sa nyuntofo ni nyina ne stars no including obi anya nyuntofo keke as a country ye beti agina na ya kanokra right we can make progress na ya koye dim
ana eba ne say ya wo mo te saa no na ye kwatia no kwa no ai amonfo dadwene da so no
of course
but yes
the right
na Stonebwoy mo level no
the right say Stonebwoy say okase obiema one shot a month for monthly budget or made be man. Say, Bosumi no so Stonebwoy, mammy say no. A bet exceed this car or receive the month no bet 3 times. About Bruce mo home prince. Because everybody had in the bed in the corner, more corners, and yes, or muko, scamming or yes, or muchan true. Right, Oman nam sa who train him. Oman nam a who train man.
Ever catch a gun of one, Nasha, Moma in Yen Cambo. Na yenye, the be ye. Of course. Dan set. Ube wa dwiso pesa wo yemani ye no no bi tachi akwaje 100 Ghana o tachi boma sayade no say no atiase
right obi kura de obi kura de ne dia ne se omoma ni sika ntop data no nkotena social media o fight against the political party no wadi watem se ne party abona na wo kan no wadi watem obedi eno na obi adwuma a wo ya no no otifie na odi sa adwuma we director my infrio na ye nim komo foforo director na after sa Stonebwoy nsensem ene galamsey issue akoso ama ye chigana for the good prison ye ba be sin ne ye mo mu bail ye mo mu bail ye de omo akoso se ye ba be di omo asem na se bi ye ja omo to afiase kire se omo akwa demonstration kire se galamsey no ekuye na ho kire so dos nti no director mpenfo bebre de omo no atum na no na lan kwadwe trematen aba bonten e de strong one abema na Akuffo ado ala na kire ni nsemu kirem so na do kirem odin na director wa kansem bebre aka ho ye kwa kodi ho nkomo na ye kwhwe ba right be di nkomo wa ti na big je nso wa ha nti ye nkomra na eni nkomo
quick one be 18 minutes yenya botwe na yentie wie ne tie wie ba ensem wo ho papa.
Today I join many Ghanaians from all over the country in expressing my utter dismay and condemnation for the continued incarceration of several young Ghanaians belonging to the Democracy Hub who took to the streets a few days ago to express their anger and frustration at the government's inability to deal drastically and substantively with the challenge of illegal mining, otherwise referred to as galamsey. The protests have exposed the failure of the current NPP government and the predecessor government of the NDC over the last 2 years to manage the natural resource endowment of our beloved country in a sustainable way and to optimize the benefits of these resources for the Ghanaian people. Admittedly, they ask, but let me declare that it is within the constitutional rights of any and every Ghanaian to express freely their opinions and to assemble in pursuit of their constitutional right of freedom of speech, expression, and movement. In this regard, it is offensive to the proper conduct and practice of criminal prosecution for the police and the Attorney General's office to bring charges of conspiracy to commit crime and committing crime in the nature of unlawful assembly, when the police was aware that the demonstrations would take place and did not take judicial steps to abort it or to stop it. In any event, it is beyond my wildest imagination to believe how the Ghana Police Service could have supervised a demonstration for a continuous period of 3 days and thereafter bring charges of unlawful assembly. Fellow countrymen and women, in spite of these developments, however, I must say, to the credit of the Ghana Police Service and the contingent of police officers who had oversight responsibility for the demonstration, that they did indeed act professionally and with decency in the management and control of the crowd of protesters over the 3 days of the protest. Regrettably, the poor post-arrest management of the protesters by the police has been both unlawful and unconstitutional, to the extent denying those arrested access to legal counsel, access to their family members, and access to essential medication, food, and water. Furthermore, the refusal of the presiding judges to admit the accused persons to bail in a criminal case in the nature of a misdemeanor, in my very respectful opinion, is an abuse of judicial discretion on the firm grounds of constitutional law, human rights, judicial practice, and decided cases. Fellow countrymen and women, let me reiterate my earlier submission that the continued detention of the accused young persons is both unlawful and unconstitutional. Indeed, it is also a sad reflection of an emerging trend in our body politic in Ghana of intolerance for dissenting views. Equally concerning is the culture of fear and sycophancy that is gradually permeating our social fabric. This is particularly troubling as we approach the general elections this year, an election which, without doubt, will be a watershed and defining election in the political history of our country. Fellow countrymen and women, let it not be said that our generation stood by unconcerned as the dark clouds of chaos and anarchy begin to gather in our beloved country. Galamsey constitutes an existential threat for Ghana. As you travel the length and breadth of this country, you'll be amazed at the extensive destruction of water bodies, forest reserves, and farmland. From colonial times through to independence and the immediate post-independence era, Ghanaians have been engaged in small-scale mining in mining communities without a threat to the environment, land, and river bodies. Regrettably, however, in the last 20-odd years, the ravages of galamsey and its negative impact on the environment have been both alarming and incrementally retrogressive. In my considered opinion, this development is symptomatic of much deeper underlying systemic problems of economic mismanagement leading to joblessness over a long period of time. It is also a clear reflection of policy failure and leadership on the part of both the MPP and the NDC over the last 2 decades. Unfortunately, in the recently published manifestos of the two dominant political parties, they have demonstrated that they neither have the competence, desire, interest, or political will to deal with the problem of galamsey. Indeed, recent pronouncements and statements by higher-level officials of both parties clearly attest to this observation. The Movement for Change and the Alliance for Revolutionary Change, which I have the honor and privilege to lead, on the other hand, has outlined a forward-looking, comprehensive 10-point policy blueprint to deal substantively with the challenge of galamsey, which I would like to present as follows. Number one, impose a complete ban for a period of 1 year on all small-scale and community mining activities, whether legal or illegal. Two, demobilization of all machinery, equipment, including earth-moving equipment, and any form of machinery currently in use in respect of small-scale and community mining, legal or illegal. Three, inventorization, storage, and preservation of all demobilized machinery and equipment by the military, especially the 48 Engineers Regiment. All such machinery and equipment shall be properly identified in respect of their ownership, location prior to demobilization, and the full description of the state and condition of the said items before demobilization. Four, a complete restoration of all river bodies to reduce current turbidity levels within a period of 1 year while the ban is in force. This exercise will be coordinated by the Water Resources Commission, the Environmental Protection Agency, and other relevant regulatory institutions, as well as the military. Five, complete restoration and regeneration of all degraded land sites within the 1-year period of the ban. This exercise will involve plantation development and tree planting on the degraded sites and will be coordinated by the Forestry Commission and other relevant public sector institutions. 6. The cancellation of all small-scale and community mining licenses issued within the last 15 years. The cancellation will be followed by a comprehensive and complete audit for all small-scale and community mining licenses issued within this period. This audit exercise will interrogate the following matters. A. The issuing authority of the license. B. Conditions associated with the grant of the license, including but not limited to the payment of license fees, compliance with technical requirements, etc. 7. The deployment of all young people previously engaged in galamsey to actively participate in the plantation development exercise on degraded land sites as a livelihood empowerment initiative within the period of the 1-year ban. 8. The establishment of a new youth in responsible mining initiative, under which groups of young people previously engaged in galamsey will be supported by the government to establish youth-owned mining companies as private legal commercial entities. These companies will be provided with seed machinery and equipment and other facilities that will be required to operate a commercially viable mining company on a work and pay basis. These companies will also be provided with working capital at subsidized interest rates. In addition, the government will provide executive management personnel from the Ghana Executive Service Organization to support the management and operations of these youth-owned mining companies, whilst the young people would work as employees of their own companies. In addition to the above, the new youth-owned mining companies will be issued with new mining licenses and other licenses to enable them to operate legally and in an environmentally sustainable manner. 9. The establishment of a citizens' mining protection rights group in each mining community who will act as the watchdogs for responsible mining. 10. The introduction of new legislation and regulations that will impose a complete ban on mining in river bodies and forest reserves. The sanctions regime associated with this new legislation and regulations would include life imprisonment for the violation of the provisions of the said legislation and regulations. Ladies and gentlemen, beyond this short-term plan, the Great Transformation Plan of the Movement for Change offers additional medium to long-term strategic interventions designed to deal with the management of our natural resources. These interventions include the following. 1. Undertake a comprehensive review of all legislation and regulations in respect of the mandate, management, and operations of institutions in the natural resource sector. 2. Based on the review exercise, consolidate institutions with overlapping mandates, clarify their regulatory functions. And establish a new regime for the optimization of benefits from our natural resources. 3. Review all existing contracts in the natural resource sector with a view to optimizing benefits to the country and enhancing local content. 4. Introduce new legislation and regulation that will significantly reduce the export of raw materials from our country in any form without a minimum of 60% value addition by the year 2030. 5. Amend Article 2576 of the 1992 Constitution to establish traditional authorities as co-trustees with the president in respect of all mining rights in Ghana. And last but not the least, develop the Western region as the mineral resource processing hub for West Africa in the context of the African Continental Free Trade Area after and the growth of mineral commodity markets in sub-Saharan Africa. Fellow countrymen and women, in conclusion, I'd like to make a passionate appeal to the learned Attorney General and Minister of Justice, who is a fellow Santa Clausian and a young man himself, and therefore should strive to protect the legal rights of young people without compromising his professional integrity. My appeal to the Attorney General is to file an application for nolle prosequi to terminate the criminal case, or at worst, not to oppose an application for bail or the application for the abridgment of the period for which the accused persons have been remanded in custody. To the young people of Ghana, I would like you to know, particularly those who have been arrested, that you are the heroes. You have endured the pain of living through the hardest of times in our country with no jobs and no hope for the future. But do not be dismayed. There's light at the end of the tunnel. Furthermore, do not be intimidated or be haunted by fear. You must be inspired by the challenge of success. I stand solidly behind you. I will fight with you shoulder to shoulder, not only to deal aggressively with the challenge of galamsey, but equally importantly, to fight to create a peaceful, prosperous, just, and united Ghana that will create a better and brighter future for all Ghanaians, particularly you, the young people. Together, we will win, and Ghana will rise again. God bless our homeland Ghana and make our nation great and strong. I thank you for the time.
Okay, Commander.
Yeah, Rota.
Alan Koto Chamatin.
Yeah, moving for change.
Wakasa.
Rota Wakasa Papa.
Oh, Papa.
Rota, I'm in love with Alan.
Yeah.
Me done pa, true be told.
Yeah.
The political ambition is said here, or address issues.
Yeah.
Rota, or wabotre a church and insemu. Emma would tear herself from head to toe.
Oh, yeah.
Rota Alan and Sema, okay, true be told. Say, yet, Timothy, any wickedness. And I echo swap.
Yeah.
Obia sebi all saying swap. All pollute or minor.
Yeah.
The environment in a bibia. All cost damage. All kunipano. Or anti free.
Nasa me no. I deal with no. And you call Akuffo Ozro. And I'm marching call. Ozro one way ya. Be met Messi.
Roger, into no cranning a man.
Oh, no, I'm ranting.
It is on himself. I will not be brought on penny forecast. And me said, Roger. Oh, Pamo who fought on a bear, my own say penny for. And to the good so old Ganano. What did nature Roger to get to a timer? What pushing it to the water into a very reactive? Yeah. Right to say, well, said the why you saw Penocuno. Now, what didn't chair drew a beard writer? Yeah. A buono or canny bread, no question. Done and need about in this case. Right at the way their name Coswa, a month for complaining. Yeah. Presidential aspirant. The writer said be top personalities. Omwa sebi omukasa efa nipa fa ahudi ho obi e ka bi se baby ade na duru no ano e dene the in this case so wahwa mpanifo a omoda positions ano the say na do ye president Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia o ye vice president the national security mpanifo Ghana police service obi e din obi a na dwon say on kan ho asem biem because omo na kita position him and omo na scheming niema omo di mia mrante ne mabawa omo akọ demonstration but say etwa so na ekwa right kokoduru bebi a pese duru a right de baba nyina ne say amanfo nso babobom ho no a react to the mpanifo yiye and eno ena jagufu so beba say na na do so say bibi besi a eno mom na bema bibi asi anka in early stages ena na do decide yes oba solve asem right ko solve but what twin ani say onfa ho and Alan solutions are okay but the truth be told say kaya ne say galamsey site ye ko enkosi afidie but ye ko ena ye force chi wo mo a o me illegal mine ye chiwa but na ye jelu for 10 years sorry to say anybody nim say okọ 10 years obeba ne na say okọ 20 obeba ne na say right Makase, we should sit down as a country. Yemfa presidential aspirants ni nyina nipa 13 no. Na yemfa cabinet ministers no. Ene na na don ka ho. Na yemfa security services mpanifo na hemfo ni nyina nka ho bi. Na yemma youth no susu mehia wo mo. Na youth no enka wo madwen enkyere mpanifo na mpanifo nso nkyere wo madwen. Na yemfa ni solution to this. Anya saade a rata ba yire pa. Na we de mse Alan dodo na waka no and viewers no nso so ebe kyere wo madwen. Ti ma menya mo ma bigi na abigi ba. Right, I'll be back to us.
Okay. The quick one. Abigi Jesu bam na or the Kakrabia Baba to us. Na a queen. T commander. Mana kunya mame na Ingram. Aha, Abigi Atanasia, Mammy Manaqua, and say Nana Tanasi. T Mammy did Nana Tata. Na Chesse Ungram. Abigi na Bokodia.
Sina manyamiado me hode papa.
I want a quick one, young run seminim, Alan Kodocha Martin, and of his Stonebwoy and Sembri. Ena chese wo mu edi atuja kwikwa minim ba bia bedi kanfa
de bata mame cha hwefo na me nko Stonebwoy de bata aye nokre Stonebwoy asaba oka no aye no ahokyere fita wo man ne mu ama mabunu ene mrante nyina ya hokyere ye na nyu akanyum tefo nyina wo oman ne mu nti Stonebwoy kasa na okasa ogyina mabunu man na mu wo oman ne mu e kasa maye se e hokyere fita na de bata na minim se Stonebwoy so no hokyere no na minim da se Stonebwoy asa mpenifo nyina na minim se omo se oman na hokyere ato mo
omu nyina aka
omu nyina enti Stonebwoy mpo na ato ene ye na ye nibie ye be ye ndey nti oman na ahokyere akoka mpenifo kukudam se Stonebwoy o magidie na ye nkola na ye wo anti eno nti na Ghana mabunu nyina ye da mahwo se sa na na do aban fun we no kwan o mo de Ghana fa so no enkoyie nti Stonebwoy akasa ye o se hwe sika o senne ne dey no wanya aduma sankofo no be ye de no wanya sika de ade o man na nkoyie a abe de no wanya sika na de amom nti na na do de na aban no aban fo no ogusu a okoso eno ye nti Stonebwoy akasa ye no me ne Stonebwoy aye adwen 100% say on kasa na nka Ghana anwumtefo empanifo bi wo ha wase o mo ba o man no mu o mo sole kasa say de o man no koso no na bia na do president na do otis no o hu hwe a awase o nani ba no so
na amanfo so kasa o ye propaganda
enya no koreda
amanfo kasa nsem na
aye o man no hodo de o man ne kolinti ena o kasa ma o man no on kasa ma campaign o nya campaign ma obia aye o man no o kasa de o man ne kolinti na Stonebwoy ye de e kasa nti o kasa na me no nya adwene because aye no kura say de bata say me betena say nka me MPP ni and then na me sola me bo MPP achi aye o man na nko yie ni nti ena bo me bo MPP achi say MPP e be o mani baba mo so na o man na o ma de asiye anti Stonebwoy de o kasa aye no pepe nti me senka obi ba kasa ka me ye MPP ni adenti na me kasa ti MPP aye no kura da ho no kura so da ha ye nto sabi nti Stonebwoy akasa en campaign fo bi ho ha ngo mo so mbla bonten be kasa tisa on African Japan ono awe awese o man ko yi
ebi muso kasa sa akode ensoso o man nya ha
sa akode say 2016 obo anyom tia former president Mahama na enko yi na adenti na ono sa akode o kana natu na ono so yakofa bibia ma no say se de ekono no yete ana asamwaja akọ so koye campaign ma omo okoye kakra obanya no wanya no wadi azan resign free nti e bia Stonebwoy aso akwaje ne de nti na wakana na atum nti san ka
anya Stonebwoy mu sa
akode nko wakana na atum nka wo so no so obonyum ne ehu se Ghana enkoye esa na wo so ye nya atum because 2016 wabonyuma ama na ehu se o man enkoye na 2024 enkoye na sako de wo ye de wote o waka wanatum nti sa nnum tufuo nyina nka wo so bonyo omo kasa ma mabunu omo kasa ma Ghana fo na ye hotoye nti de brata sa no wo se o ye no nti wote o man ka no kre ehwe party ehwe hwe o man nim tan na hwe de o man ye betimi aye ma o man ahoto aba de brata Ghana ahoto ba obi antukwan Ghana ye ahoto ba o man ma obi antukwan na se wote ona ye din na se me MPP ni na patro boy ye din na wo se wo nkasa na wo fruka ye beji usika obi su ya NDC din o fruka ye beji nisika ente ne ma nkwaye no yanka na ye Ghana fo nhu se ene ma ne nkwaye
na se wo kwa koto ade musha se wo ye MPP ni ye ya chaw
dabi wo ye NDC ni ye wo ye NDC ni nti ye ntum ye Ghana ane ye ton ya ade ne ye ton ma o man ba bia enti wo te o man na koto ade na ne boa se ne wa mo mo 1 cup e go 15 cedis wo koto ye beka se ye MPP ni ye de ama 10 cedis ana wo koto ye ka beka se ye NDC ni ye de ama 20 cedis ayo o man ho enti wo te o man na wa nka no kura ayo wo na wo pra wo ho o man nko na na do tirimo fo a wo te so yi on fa Ghana fo nya hwe on fa Ghana fo ni tirimo den wo ma Ghana aye den wo pesi odi esika nyina akoto
e free education
the matter free education by pro the matter sisi ankula o ma ankula ni bi betena fie 4 months asankula we na wo bete wo say dey free we free education na o mo dia wia o ma dia boy akro no free education na dia o dia pra Ghana yi
se enu nti na ma o man ni ma di no
sika na o mo dia fa ho say ye free nti o mo dia fa ho wia ye sika nyina de ko na aye no enu nti na o mo dia fa ho wia ye sika nyina na o mo de ko na o mo di ye campaign anu na do afa so ka say ye free ya no dia fa so no dia pesika dollars e dia ma Bawumia dia akoye ne campaign anu na ye ko cheese ka bi wo oba bi dem na adoso no na ye campaign sika ni bia aye no
na se no mo de be campaign
yes no mo de be campaign no mo sai sika we hwe sika ye kan no 5 hours so Ghana fo mpanifuo na do we sa akobo o man ne di e be to yeso sai sika na wai o sa akobo o man no aka cha say mo mako school free nti e na ma ho kire ba ha no ka kire ye former president Akuffo peso every KG1 to SS3 no mo school free na denti no amana anya de se na do peso hwe de ba bia $1 pira koduro hwe de Ghana akoduro enti wote o man na so nka no kra ene o man ni say ya menu mienu yatimu bi sa wo de so nka no o man ni say ya menu mienu yatimu bi ene ye wa yenka no kra no o man ni gira wi a ahoto ba aka me eka wo so o man na nko ya ahokyere ba aka ya mienu nyina
na na say o man ni mo edin
na o man ni mo edin
asema Stonebwoy kan no ne ya
yes bakuru si say dok enene 3 mi koto dokuno your friends in Canada no 10 cedis and Canada do 10 cedis and sat na na peso Canada no 1 cedi o se ne boade and na wo peso wo Canada do 10 cedis se na na do yanya wo den Canada do 10 cedis so wo te o man na na do se o man na mo nya den Canada ko tama na ndi city so na Canada no 1 cedi wo na na do se ne boade and na na do Grado kuna aye 10 cedis wono former president ma ho na ya ade
o se ai ewiasim babia na adin
wana ka kire ana awiase na oboa nya babia na ye de Ghana na aye den Ghana na ya den hwe ane na nado ni tirimu odenti COVID-19 da so wo man
dabi
so kwa aduma o plafa o man aduma wo ma o de COVID-19 tax ya ko wura o maduma ona o de ya campaign ni tirimu den na nado de me se me hu president and tirimu den say Ghana me kan ko me hu president and tirimu den say na nado da
ni tirimu den say na jeje
de no ya gbofo
na Akuffo ni tirimu den say Akuffo
na waya Akuffo de so ya o de nya o yemfa so Akuffo ya Ghana nyame
na atamese
no so ya Ghana nyame mama so ya gbofo na nado do ye Satan plan o to man na nado ye Satan plan bun sampa de de na dua me say me atona bia me ti dema me mi nsabo me ti se ma bottom because me ko sa 2016 me ko to aba man na nado because na me nim se na nado ye say Mahamat so anema boode na me say na nado baba ma na kofom dokro wasi na me say na nado ba obama na ko be 5000 say do kuna ko do 10 cedis wo say me mbo
obama na ko say 5000
50 pesos
5000 Ghana na
that be 50 pesos 50 pesos.
5,000.
Adabe me Mr. 50 pesos. And then another amount the kuna kwa 10 cedis. Sana another former president mama na another one was me bona maso. Me say
when you dikan.
There was a me say mbata my party MPP atona my list to no kura da hono meka.
Hey.
So I say you try be na party obaba no anya ni ya me so metra wo say me condemn party no me nya nyatom say you try be na next time na e bia nipa obawi na on African Japan so na aba no amaye o man ni ya me so me condemn no there was say you show man nim o man ko ya mbabunu bab ko so mo mpa mo o man no man ni di ya mu nipa nyina ho boto mo nti o man ahokyere ba say emrantie ye ho kyere fana da no kromfo omu na wona ma no ma twesika na o ma di usika o ma di o bag ni usika nyina nti ka adwuma wo Ghana mu a na nka mabunu nya ko na bosom ko onya 5 million o ba prechen so o betena so no twesikan ade akobokro no nti sa na ma we awo se na president na me se ni timoten kasambele ka wose ye mani sifum no fa yakonya nti na nado president nado ya di yakonya on fa president nado on fa yakonya man anya ne dia 2016 no obi nete so na wo na nado wo betena wo condemn no so oye satan
enu nti na ma abuofu
o so oye satan wo se nipa na satan se wo kra wo se ye bofo aba no Muhammad ye 100% chen oye good chen wo na nado Muhammad ni made chen wo na nado ko una na do ba wunja hwe ma o man no ye koka mo se free education free hand education
na aifo won se wo mo me protest yi aya teche o magumi o wa pala no na no atumo wakasa fa ho ye nwura won so
de bata ala nakasa me afi say o university no afi na mo hu so o keka no ho o keka no ho ye no ala onji mabunu nkwa
ota o majo
onji ya nkwa ni ye bre ala ye bre ye hia umwa ala nanado ni timo ye den ala ye hia mo asol mun kam ho party ya kanya mun kam ho na mun kan chen nanado say Ghana mabunu ni koto abama 2016 wo ba ye president ka won deserve president Ghana mabunu ya o mabunu ya na odi school free that guy e ma koto abama wo ba ye president and wo chichi agum efo na bato abama nti nanado de odi timo de papa Ghana mabunu ya se je yakonya nanado fa yakonya maye na wo tie ai Ghana mabunu
se nanado so kan
on kan se ye ina film na oye Ghana ni
na no mu committee na be
nanado oye Ghana ni Afri Ghana kuloweso
ofri achim
onye achim ni onye Ghana ni timu nya de se nanado andwene Ghana mabunu ho so dwene Ghana mabunu ha da mo hwehia ye no o man se kom de ka konche nsantum biem ade oye no njai enye sa de bata da mo hwehia ye basan ye nje so tie nyina gum ya hwe de obekokoto abama wo ba no
ensa se mu tietia mabunu fa wo so
so Ghana ye se ye wo kamamam ka bi mebo ye se ye wo kire wa adwena na mesuma kire wa adwena ya ba ga kire wa adwena se nanado Ghana mo aja ye de na wo tietu ayada na wache sana ye di president
yes ala no ebema o
ala o ye bema on kasa ala kasa mana na do huna mo na do onye opia wo Ghana ha na nko wo na nka deserve so be president wo Ghana as Ghana fu
se wo na do wo no me so eno ya
na nko ye na nka men kan say
o penny
be na penny na wo chichi Ghana babunu tumu na ye penimu na wo man Ghana
no no na akwachi o mu
na sabe na ake
se security so mu
order for nanado ntimi nka so onim hobi na anti security ni tie ya no eche mabunu nanado betu ka se munje o mo anam se nanado betu command hey stop the mabunu anti mama ka sa menchira nanado president nanado yere your friend Rebecca mama Rebecca Mr. onka se che dukunu sa onja Ghana mabunu kire na Ghana mabunu ne ma obaye president o my way so say Rebecca mama Rebecca tie ka sa kire okunu Ghana fo na mama okunu baye president so mani bi ne ya che o mo a ka wo samilin ka adun to ma bo yem sana obatan bi sutiri fie o sun sisiye nti wo ya obatan tu kunu fu se bi okunu de o ye no njai na yesa muwa no se o president ni tim se president aba Ghana nyina ni bimpa ni tim o de paye president nanado
na de wo de pa
ni tim o de
no wai de
na nya no no chiche mbabuna gum 2016 Nana do oba no yen Ghana mabunu nyina bo se anya ya Ghana fo mabunu ne to ba ma na anya 1 million vote enti ane de wadi akonya wie umfa Ghana mabunu nya he wo chichi atum na honye nkwato aba mam we na mo se mo de break it ana apu 8 fo be no betima de break ye de we break it wo chi atum na o Ghana mabunu ye da mo hwes na ye ne yen se mo bibia
ntina Alan akasa
me papa Alan Alan de me se on kasa o mana ni nye den no kambom na yen kasa na mabunu ho ntoye Alan and former president Mahama on ka ho o mu ina ka ho party aka no mu ka ho na Ghana mabunu ya ho ntoye na ye bre na nadu ntimo den na koton wanoma na nadu o senesi pa o senesi
now nanado okay so we say me kura me kan na wo yima no say bible ma sem di bi rure
na nadu de o senesi
na me bi say nanado ne se wa hu no
na se nanado ne se de ma hu no me na me busa mercy wa share mercy da eso wo ka mercy hu asem enti nanado de ya beto se nanado ni timo de papa bi ka kira me say Ghana fo nim ni ato abama president nanado ya ho be kire chen obi a wa ba wi ase na me ka kira papa wo boa ane me de papa ni tias ka me de no boa ba kokoma no
sha ai Akuffo addo ebi a wa be na famudie wantimi anye na se o de Bawumia bremu
ya from four come hey enanka Ghana atrofo come na nadu aba condemn oman na sa de o bible ni Ghana fo ye nim hwenti ye sanje wo ba no enanka Ghana me se Ghana jabotom sa ye koto aba man Bawumia Ghana ni bia he ka ye ndwane nja oman ne ma omo se me se 7 December ne Ghana ni wo to na ate se Bawumia wini a dwane ja oman ne ma omo nyesa ye ho kire bekire anya Bawumia 8 years on count nyo ne won nya run mate nya no na nanado say economy on ni oyade Ghana the whole Ghana ha on yade economy ntitin sai enti nipa we obed o antimi anya run mate antimi ambo ma economy ye no be president adwene be na obetima de ayesa adwuma so wo so ye run mate no otimi ye run ne hu so waye ene wadwane economy sa ko dictator enti sisi ye koto aba ma adwene be na obetima de on tim fambu enti nipa we ene kwaso kwasala koto aba se on buy president wo my way enti nipa we ni kwaso koto aba enti nanado die ebremika mesre Alan mo omomo mo nya ha na nyambotaro ne mbabunu ne yenje mbabunu o ma mo didam yenje o momla na binim se nyame ba ya dum president bi baba e baba bi mbabunu ama mabunu ni age yam ba mo muda die ye no kopem se tumdwe bi ya banya hoto wo Ghana de batere Ghana ho se wo sisi wo na mana mrantie bi no ma twese kan ade agi wo ade because adwuma ni ho omo kire wo mo ekom de ho nti wiase we no se omampani a waba ne timoten so wantimi ambo babunu a wo sa ache etu adenti na wo sa ache etu wa nwa wo so lo judge na nado ne bobi omo dwa manum saase ye bie 1 million vote na akire ye bie adwuma 1 million ewe eni o man so nti sankofo omo tam MPP omo tam twam nti yanko salai e ma omo
dem ko tuma ha papa
Alan kas di oba obedwen ene wakasai obedwen mabunu ho oba an kankan na bitrefo no de beta o di ka ba yam ukoto ka 800 million ya je 100 million da Alan cho obebie port free na di ka ba na Ghana mabunu nya ka atwi nti saa ni point ene ye koto aba nya Bawumia ni timo den a onim hwe na ukoto aba man na onim dia oye MPP de ni tama twam Ghana konya ne so wo sane so a udi ko akonya na 8 years wo tama twam 8 MPP 8 years o muntimi nya hwe piem 8 years na asa de bata
fancy awushafo ye de musi ye ko ye be san ba piem aha brighter media ya kai fo nyina